Excellent. Welcome everyone to this week's series, the Careers in Technology. We have Dr. Yuhong Liu with us, and she's going to fill us in on her exciting career preparation, all the advice that she has for us. Dr. Liu is the 2025 IEEE Chair of Computer Society Geographic Activities Committee. She will lead the spring sessions of Career in Technology with a discussion of her career preparation and a deep dive into her own keen interests and vast experience in research, including trustworthy computing and cybersecurity of emerging applications such as Internet of Things, blockchain, and online social media. She has published over 90 papers in prestigious journals and peer-reviewed conferences. Her papers have been selected as the best paper at the IEEE International Conference on Social Computing in 2010. I'd like to let you know that we have some very exciting speakers coming up. On January 28th, we have Dr. Bak Young Choi. On February 4th, we have Mr. Eamon J. Wall, who's an attorney and patent attorney. We have Dr. Rui Lee from right here in Montclair State on February 11th. February 18th, we have our own Dr. Alvin Chin from Chicago. And February 25th, Dr. Peter James Koutsukos from Connecticut. And March 4th, we have Elizabeth Alvis, who's going to tell us a lot that we don't know yet about STEM. I'm looking forward to that. We have a special event, our own Dr. Paula Mueller, who's an entrepreneur. We've heard from her in the past, and she's going to give us an update about how she and her company are helping people age with dignity. Her new company name is CareLink 360, and she'll speak to us on January 29th. Then we have a very exciting speaker. He has a very popular article in the IEEE Computer Society magazine. He's going to be speaking about ethics and generative AI. In addition, he's going to give us a demonstration helping us to understand how to use these tools, and then give us a really good idea about what's going on with regard to the ethics of generative AI. I don't know if you've noticed recently, but sometimes you see papers and you can tell right away when you look at them that they weren't really written by people. And so this has become an issue, including resumes, including people applying for awards, people telling you they want to give a talk. It's a thing. So I'm looking forward to learning more about this issue. And then we have a series of special events by the Honorable Dr. Duncan Rogers Lee II, who's an EDD from Columbia and an attorney. He also has been a judge. He's going to provide a discussion of the Constitution of the United States, the powers of the president. He's going to have a series of discussions of different areas, beginning with Article 2, powers of the president. And those will take place on April 30th, May 7th, May 14th, and May 21st. A lot of people have been asking me about this. And I just wanted to let you know that Dr. Lee won the IEEE Friends of IEEE Award for his work with us on humanitarian projects, including helping to understand how people who have disabling conditions can be helped in our environment, in education, in the court systems, etc. And I'm now going to turn over the presentation to Dr. Liu.
Okay, thank you. Just give me 1 sec. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
I can. It looks fabulous.
Okay, so you're seeing the full screen, not the other one, right? I have to.
Correct.
Just
Correct.
okay.
It looks perfect.
Okay, great. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. So I actually learned this opportunity as mainly for students and young professionals. So I try to not include my technical presentation, which I often did in other presentation cases. But when I talked to Kit early today, I realized maybe some of those expectations are about my technical expertise. So I don't know. Anyway, my slides are not that long, so hopefully I just finish them. And then in case you have any question, maybe we can have more discussions. So hopefully making this more interactive. Okay, great. So my name is Yuhong Liu, and I'm currently an associate professor at Santa Clara University from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And yeah, just first slide, something about myself. Um, I got my PhD actually from the East Coast. I just talked to Kate, and from University of Rhode Island back like over, well, 13 years ago. So after that, I actually first joined Penn State Altoona for about 2 years for my assistant professorship. And then I moved to California. So right now I'm at Santa Clara, California. Then for my personal life, I like travel a lot. So that's why one of the reasons I funded an academic job, because I know as a professor we do have more opportunities to travel to different conferences all over the world. So you can see one of the photo was taken when I was in South Africa with the lions, and
Did you go on a safari? Did you actually go on a safari, or was this? How did you come
yeah,
to so
yeah, I
close?
went to one of them.
Wow, wow, you're brave.
But this one is like they actually train the well, it's like they are wild, but it's not like wild. Yeah. So there's certain protection mechanism there. But anyway, yeah, so that's a little bit about myself. And yeah, about what I do. My technical expertise fall into the trustworthy computing. When I talk to people about trust, actually, people often think about cybersecurity. Yeah, part of my work is on cybersecurity, but other than that, I'm doing like a trust modeling and trustworthy computing in a more kind of broad area. For example, I started my PhD research on social network reputation. We assume malicious users or dishonest users manipulate those online ratings and reviews. So what we do is we use signal processing and machine learning techniques, trying to do the anomaly detection, try to see if anyone has manipulated those things. So that's a not that traditional cybersecurity like cryptography. Then I started doing something about privacy, especially started from social network. People nowadays share a lot of information online. So privacy become a more and more important issue. And recently, I also started a new direction working on responsible AI, because the rapid evolvement of the AI technologies, now the whole society, all different industry started to adopt AI aggressively. But there's a lot of potential issues like the AI safety issues, the ethical issues, privacy issues, and also fairness issues. So there's a lot of issues. So one of the study I'm currently doing is to, for example, can we through some comprehensive testing to verify the AI models are actually behave based on the expectation, etc. So those are the technical expertise I have. Then for my current job, I imagine some of those audience are students. So I want to just briefly talk about a typical academia job. How does it look like? But maybe some of you are already kind of very senior, so you know what's going on there. And for our university, particularly the job responsibility, we have the three things: teaching, research, and service. I think that's a general university faculty job, but the percentage wise, we do have a heavy teaching load. So kind of 40%, then 30% for research, and then the other 20% for service. That's roughly the expectation. But of course, we tend to do more than that. And yeah, the pros of working in academia, I would say it gives us a lot of flexibility. So I do, if I prefer to do like what type of research, and when there's a new technology emerging, I actually can have the flexibility to choose. This may be my right now first priority, or I can shift my research direction a little bit. So that's very nice. I can always work on stuff that I'm passionate about. Also job security. So after getting tenured, you kind of have this secure job. That's very nice. But also there's some cons. For example, especially at the beginning of the career, there's a lot of pressure. And also, if you want to do more, you can always do more, but really when to stop. If you are a very self-motivated person, you may tend to overwhelm yourself a lot because there are tons of opportunities you want to grab. So there's a lot of pressure, but I would say that's more of a self-pressure for me for now after getting tenured. But also another thing, I think, I don't know if that's pros and cons. I think I just put it as con, but actually I truly believe it provide me some more opportunities to learn, to keep myself up to date. So
So
it
what you're saying is that there are pros and pros plus plus.
oh, do I?
Not a no, it's not a cons, it's another pros, right? Get it? It's more pros. I get it. Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to make it a little interactive here and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
and yeah, I feel the same way that like when you think about like if you it's a good way to answer questions too on the job, right? If someone asks you what's the worst thing about your job, well, the worst thing is that there's so many good things that it's hard to choose or something, right? I mean, so yeah, the cons are also good things, right? I like
Yep,
that. It's a
yep,
good
yep.
attitude. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, oh, I forgot to actually mention our university. So you can see I posted a photo about our university there. So it's a Jesuit university. It's very unique, especially in Silicon Valley here. And I know a lot of people actually, we have Stanford, Berkeley, around us. And how do we identify ourselves? We often say we are a well, from our school of engineering, we are engineers with a mission. So that's how we distinguish ourselves.
Can you
And
spend a little bit of time explaining I mean, I think many people on the call may know what a Jesuit university is all about, what the philosophy is, but just in case, it would be really nice to just hear you explain how that is, because we have Fordham nearby here, and so people know a little bit. If you're a New Yorker, you sort of know, but it would be nice to hear you explain it.
okay, sure. So yeah, so as a Jesuit university, we from education perspective, we value the education for a whole person. So it's not only emphasizing on the technical perspective and the knowledge. We hope that we can have the students develop all their full characteristics. And also we value a lot about the ethics and also the mission we care about. For example, we do have a one interesting thing we often have is the entrepreneurship for our students. And from their, study on campus, we already have, because also I think another advantage of us is the location. We're located in the Silicon Valley, so there are a lot of industry startups around us. So that's one of the things we highly encourage students to try. And on the other hand, I think we do have some different centers. For example, we have the Miller Center, which provide sponsorship or some of the funding opportunities to prioritize projects, students involved projects that actually focusing on the underserved communities or even like global wide. We have some of the students, they used to have like a clean water project. They work with, on the, we actually send a few students to across board to actually other, countries, developing countries, to help them address the challenges people.
This is very consistent with IEEE's theme of advancing technology for humanity. Are
Yes,
you able to bring the IEEE humanitarian technologies missions in and the site groups and projects that are IEEE? Like, do you have students who are involved with IEEE?
actually, this would be a great idea. I think 2022, fall, September or October, I forgot which month. There's an IEEE conference on it's GHTC.
Right. The
Right.
Global Humanitarian Technologies Conference. Yeah.
Yes, we had that conference on campus.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
So we hope to, have more opportunities, maybe engage our students more with the actually humanity projects. Actually, I just received another invitation early today. A student organization, they are trying on campus, they're trying to invite me serving as a judge for their humanity projects. Yeah, so in early February.
I hope you have time to do that, or,
Yeah, I
that's
will I will try to arrange it. Anyway, yeah, so that's a little bit about our university. Thanks for all the questions.
Sure.
And yeah, then beyond my academic job or my daily responsibility, another part of my work or things I do as a volunteer for professional organizations. It is part of my job responsibility, but other than that, I think I also enjoy a lot from doing those volunteer services. So that's why I actually did more than necessary. From IEEE Computer Society, I actually got involved even well right after I graduated as a PhD. So I started from serving on the special technical communities. So different from the TC, special technical community actually can be more, created much faster because there's no really heavy burden on, or strict requirement on what criteria you have to meet in order to become one or create one new STC. But so that's why I think because computing is also a fast evolving domain, technology domain. So there are many, many new emerging technologies every year. So that's a very good initiative. So I started from STC in social networking. And then I volunteer to get more involved in the STC XCOM committee, who is in charge of or envision well, I think 20 something STCs on different domain. But I think last year STC was dissolved eventually. So so that idea is just I think the board of governors decided to terminate this so that we can have STCs maybe grow either to task forces or new TCs or etc. But that was a fun experience for me trying to talk to people, the leaders on different domain and share their vision, etc. So that's a very nice experience for me. Then beyond that, I also work as the distinguished visitor for IEEE Computer Society. Started from year 2022, and I finished last year. I got the chance to actually go to different local chapters to deliver talks so that we can have more members engaged and also providing values for them. That's a very nice program. So and also they provide reimbursement for covering the trip cost, which is very nice.
So this is sort of like a good story, not good story, but good story. If you can do it during a semester, then wherever you go to, you can invite students as part of the program to participate. But being academic, then it's going to be difficult for you to travel during the semester at a time that's convenient for students elsewhere. So this must be, a difficult decision. Have you had to balance that kind of decision, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, so that's why having more travels nowadays like become more and more difficult. But what I used to do is either sometimes I will just arrange my exams during my travel time, or like this week later, I will also make another trip. So I will actually have my first midterm exam.
Good plan. I like that plan. Okay,
Yeah,
so it was
sometimes I
it
do
was a
have.
good question, right? Okay, good.
If I can interject, the Distinguished Visitor Program is a great way for chapters to build their interest level and to get general members excited about IEEE activities. So it's one of the ways that we really plant seeds to make the computer society grow.
Yes, exactly. And we have the DVP program, every year there's new applicants and new professionals will serve as, or be elected as a DVP. So there's like a flood fresh, fresh blood like every year. So
Gotcha.
yeah, the
Gotcha.
topic is also capturing the trending topics.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, then other than that, I this year I think I serve as the chair for the Geographic Activity Committee, and also I'm serving as the treasurer for the TNC committee, and the member of the Board of Governors. So that's the different activities I'm currently engaged for Attribute Computer Society. And other than that, there's also I'm serving as the local chapter chair for another organization. It's called APACIPA. It's Asia Pacific Signal and Information Processing Association. They are actually sharing some similar technical expertise with IEEE. And so yeah, but they are actually charging much less for membership, trying to engage more students and professionals. So that's another volunteer work I'm doing. And
Are you able to have joint meetings between the IEEE and APSIPA? Are you able to do that?
yeah, I'm actually planning to. So I don't know if there's any conflicts. People don't want to do it together unless that's the case. Otherwise, one of my responsibilities to organize some like more talks, panel discussions for my local chapter for this year. I'm thinking of potential like jointly organize that with computer society talks or something. Hopefully we can have more members, not being the computer society members yet, to join us. Hopefully they
Right.
can become members later on.
And they
That'll
could
be
see it as their life, their life home, right? The IEEE for their life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so then other than that, there I also serve for some journals and conference committees, etc. So that's the roughly what I do. Okay, I think we kind of talk about that. Yeah, the later several slides, I mainly talk about some of the experience I share. I would like to share with students or young professionals. First of all, I think we're in a field that requires lifelong learning. It's always evolving and so rapidly. So myself actually kind of touched that a little bit. I have worked on all different domains or like topics. Started from my PhD, like social network reputation rating system, and then privacy. And right now I'm working on misinformation, disinformation domain, which is a big problem for social network or social media. And then also during my PhD, my advisor, she kind of had a collaboration project with another bioengineering professor. So they were working on a artificial limb, like machine learning algorithm controlled artificial limb, trying to help the amputees who lose their limb to actually stand up, but by detecting their movement intention through the electrical EMG signal, electrical muscle signals. So yeah, so I'm doing the machine learning part and the anomaly detection, detect if there's any signal reliability issue. So yeah, that's a work. So that's when I started working on this so-called cyber physical domain. We have a system that involves both the cyber algorithm parts and also the physical components. So that's a very big domain. That actually lead to one of my current project where I work on the power system, power and energy system, let's say. So the energy, the power grid is also a big cyber physical system. They now open to more and more AI algorithms, but that may also require a more rigorous testing and validation before the algorithm can be deployed, because that can be like posting like threats or risks, high risks to this to this infrastructure. Also, IoT is part of this cyber physical system. Then I also started like collaborating with people on blockchain technologies, trying to use that as a way to facilitate the trust building among different parties. Sometimes maybe with different interests or strangers who don't know each other. Then yeah, some other things that my technical expertise I also need to learn gradually. I started by doing signal processing. In our URI, when I did my PhD study, our department is very well known for its signal processing expertise. So that's where I did that. But afterwards, the machine learning get more and more popular. They are related, but not exactly the same. And then the deep learning wave, and then now Gen AI and AI agents a lot. So every day we have new stuff to learn. So that's why I think we need to be prepared, or have a way to learn things more efficiently. So I actually try to think about all the different channels I utilize to help myself learn all those new concepts. So of course, when I was a student, I use a lot like register a course so that I can listen to the instructor about high level, big overview about the field, and then I also need to read books, papers like that. But that turns out to be how to say, you have to spend a lot of time and a systematic way of learning. But we may not be able to do that for everything, every knowledge. So nowadays, sometimes I talk to peers. I feel like conversation can be a very effective way, efficient way to learn new knowledge. So I listen to, for example, others' webinar talks. That's a way.
Well, I have to say that one of the things I've learned or discovered recently, even in Wikipedia, they mention how the culture at Bell Labs really can be like this talks thing, right? People sat together every day talking. And then over years, many, many years, those people who were colleagues who sat together all the time talking would talk about technology, because everything always goes back to your technical talk, right?
Yeah.
So everything goes back, like the discussion we had earlier about one of the colleagues showing me his radon meters, right? So eventually you start talking about the signal processing and how is the thing built and how can you mitigate all these things. But in fact, in the workplace or in the school or in your lifelong learning, just making friends with people so that you can do this mind share on a regular basis. That's one of the things we're hoping to do with these webinars that we have, that they shouldn't just be a talk. It should be us as a community getting together and finding out what's going on in your life, what's going on in other people's lives, also the information, also how do we keep in touch with one another over time? Because maybe you have a question and you remember, oh, Al knows that thing, or Yuhong knows that thing. Let me call and find out, or send an email, or whatever. And that's the the lifelong learning too. It's this network of people that we build together. And in some workplaces or some schools, they facilitate that. They provide you with cookie hour, on a Friday,
Yep.
and everyone gets together and they have 2 or 3 short talks, and then people share their ideas. But all of those things really, really work. But especially, like you were saying earlier, providing a live physical place where people get together, it seems to be an organic thing that happens among people that allows us to share. And I think a lot of times in industry or in our lifestyle, we forget those pieces. We forget to get together and talk. And so scheduling it and making it a routine is kind of a good thing,
Exactly. I think over the past few years during the COVID time, we kind of get so used to, just to go online doing the webinar. It's easy, it's less expensive. But I was really missing the days when I can interact with people in person. Yeah, you can feel the person, right? Yeah, you feel like this is a real conversation, not just online. But of course, online can help. But
Oh yeah, if you have nothing else, right? It's better. It's really
Yep.
better. I mean, being isolated during the pandemic was horrible, And so we started these drop-in sessions where we'd have an agenda, but if someone showed up with something else they wanted to speak about, we would switch the agenda and, add it. So it makes things flexible. It makes it current. You get that sense of urgency about some important thing people want to talk about. And that makes things exciting. And like you said, keeping up with what's going on in the world, if it's already in a book, maybe sometimes you have to look up. You have to look up and, yeah.
Yeah, if it's in a book, probably it's already out of date.
And that's sad. But even, maybe taking on a challenge of making a tutorial document, right, of a series of meetings you have allows you to just gather your thoughts and share those thoughts with others in a timely manner, So,
Yeah, yeah. So yes, exactly. And so other than that, I'm trying to learn from, because nowadays when we get more and more busy, right? We have limited time. So sometimes we may have like 15 minutes or 10 minutes, like that time slot. So I feel, yeah, it's definitely not sufficient for, reading a paper, but I may read some tech news or, read some social media, like LinkedIn, people's updates. So they may say, oh, there's a new conference ongoing, or I'm, organizing this event and that things. So you may get to know. Yeah, so that's a very nice way. And also, I'm relying more and more on those online sources. I feel like YouTube videos, well, for some of the recordings, for example, we can also post on, IEEE TV, but sometimes also YouTube videos. And I see people are, reading papers or doing their hands-on things and then post videos like tutorial on YouTube. So that's a very nice place to find all those resources, whatever, new topics, even the technology was just out like a few days, you can already find some YouTube videos talking about that. So that's very nice.
And even teaching you how to do stuff you may not have known how to do before, right?
Yeah. So there are all different ways of learning. And also recently I found ChatGPT is very good for, organizing or summarizing the latest literature. So I used to do my like a literature survey, just doing Google Scholar. But right now, like ChatGPT can help you doing the job much more efficient. You can just type the question like, what are the latest papers or publications about a particular topic, and they can find all those papers. And of course, many of them are from the archive, so you can see how latest they are, just published last year or a few months ago. But anyway, so I'm also looking at potential other ways, other tools. I think there are more and more tools available nowadays with AI, etc. Anyway, then I was thinking, I'm trying to look back to, since I joined Santa Clara till now, like what I would value a lot for, if I could start over, what would be the most important thing for me? I think is get to know or get to know the institution and also establish my work routine. So those are the top two things I would suggest. First of all, I think when we started a new job, we tend to be anxious. The anxiety, I think, may come from all different sources, but one of the major source, I think, is because of the uncertainty. We don't know what are the expectations, what's the culture there, there's so many things we don't know, or we are not sure. So it feels like a lot of pressure. So I was lucky because I got a mentor from our department. He's a very senior. He's a senior faculty, and he knows the department very well. So I arrange like a weekly meeting or like a regular meeting, not weekly, but regular meetings, especially at the early stage when I started joining the job. So that's a very helpful way for me to understand what are the expectations for my job. What's the department expectation, even the school level, university level, and what is the typical, scope of the work? Like everyone, what's the best practice everyone's doing? And for example, we have the teaching evaluation, like they expect you at least achieve the average score. Now I need to understand what is the average teaching score everyone get. So that helps me understand, for example, oh, this part I'm already doing fine, but that part I may need to put more efforts on. So yeah, then I can turn this like a very abstract, vague way of, you know, you have to work hard into something more practical and actionable. For example, for my teaching, I need to, you know, prepare better slides. I need to make sure I have more interactions with students, etc., etc. Those ones that become like an actionable item or something that I can understand, like small enough. So that, I think a lot of the anxiety actually was gone. So that's based on my own experience. And also, maybe you can also learn what are the career opportunities. Of course, seems like if you are recruited as a tenure track assistant professor, maybe the next step is getting tenured, and then, you know, become full professor and even more. But then, based on the, you know, your institution, right? How do you get tenure? What are the criteria, right? And after tenure, uh, are there other faculties doing some other jobs, right? Rather than focusing still on research, are they actually trying to do something else? You can look around and see what are the opportunities available and what would be the best one suitable for you. So yeah, so that's something I think I learned from, you know, talking to a senior mentor from our department. So that's why I would say seek for advice. Don't just struggle by yourself, and find a mentor, talk to senior colleagues, and sometimes it could be like from external institution, or, you know, some professional organization like IEEE, for example. I know a lot of experienced people volunteer to do the job, and then they're very generous in terms of providing suggestions and advice. I also benefit a lot from my volunteering work when I work with more senior people. I kind of learn that. So that's very nice.
So do you get insight into what's going on in other schools, or what the experience might be from professors from other schools because of your interaction with IEEE?
Um, Now, from IEEE, I didn't learn like about the how to say this expectations for other schools. I learned that from another opportunity. So there is different organization, not IEEE. I think it's called the National Faculty something. But I was recommended by our institution to join that as a, you know, junior faculty, and they have the faculties from the entire U.S. They actually have senior members who actually organize the workshops, or, you know, like I think I enrolled in a 1-year program. They will check up with you like every quarter or something. And they have, for example, 4 or 5 faculty members form a smaller group, and with 1 or 2 mentors. And then there we may discuss each other's like challenges we are facing in our home institution, and, you know, what experiences, what lessons we can learn. You know, we can chat with each other and share our experience. So finding a community that makes me feel like more safe.
That's wonderful. That sounds like excellent advice.
Yeah, but from IEEE, other, you know, senior members from IEEE, I think I probably learned like, okay, what are the volunteer opportunities, and also how does IEEE work? IEEE is so big. I didn't figure out like exactly what rules, you know, what we can do, what we cannot do. So that took me a long time to figure out. And even today, I still don't know part of the IEEE. I
It's
only
like
know.
the elephant where you have the ear and the trunk and the tail and the leg. Is there something at the moment, like right now, that you feel IEEE has enriched you in your life and your career? Is there something that you feel right now resonates from your IEEE experience?
Yes. For example, I did get the chance, serving as a DVP, for example, I can visit different chapters, right? Although there's a limited funding, and I went to several places, not all over the world, but I got the chance to talk to the local chapters and facing the students, actually understand their local culture and see what's the technical focuses for different chapters. It's quite different. each local area may have its own local industry, and some of the technical focuses or people's interest may draw from their local, context. So I think that's a very nice thing to learn. For example, one of my research project is about like a global center, like funded by NSF. They also focus on one of the programs, they focus on this international collaboration. They're trying to have people or professionals from different countries collaborate together to address some global challenges. And our project, we want to address the clean energy issue, the power grid issue. But actually, even in the US, for different regions or different states, the energy profile is quite different. And for my trip, I went to last year. I went to several states in several provinces in Canada, Western Canada, and that was for my DVP trip. But I did get the chance to talk to local people, technical professionals, and understanding, for example, their energy need, which is quite different. Like California, for example, we have the sunshine days most of the
Yes.
time. But in like Calgary,
Mhm.
those places in Canada, they may have cold weather half of the year and a big snow, etc. So the weather conditions are very different. And also the way the utility run is also different. In California, it's more decentralized. I mean, they are more open to decentralization, although it's still like PG&E plays a big role. But in Canada, their utilities play a very like dominating role, the central
Mhm.
role. So it's quite different in terms of the energy price, the utility price, in terms of
And
what.
also in many of the colder climates, people find that they also turn to burning wood or other materials, and that creates an indoor air quality issue, which also goes with, it's a companion piece to the clean energy grid that you're talking about. And so, some people suffer from asthma or childhood diseases or aging, troubles, when they get older, that people don't experience in other parts of the world. So, have you run into this with your work in the clean energy?
Um, right, that is an issue. We actually okay, we don't directly address that issue, but that's kind of related. For example, for different um, geographic location, what may be the best clean energy solutions for them? There's no like one solution for all, right? So some
Right.
locations based on the natural environment, they may be tied to certain technology, right? So or sometimes they don't have too many choices, or the choices for different geographic location could be very different. Like for example, California solar panel, maybe that's one, but in some other places they may not have this or stable clean
Right.
energy.
It's not a practical solution. They don't get much use out of the solar panel, right? Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's challenging, but it's also good that I do find, for example, some of the local communities in California,
Mhm.
although the weather condition may be quite different, but some of the common challenges they may share with some communities in like Maine. I do have a collaborator in Maine, so we do find some common.
Very good point, because the climate is similar and the population is probably as populated densely or less, more rural and whatnot. So that's very interesting. And so what you're saying is that these opportunities have helped you build your NSF credentials and ideas for your NSF work as well, right? That they've informed.
Right, right.
Right.
And actually, since we had the project in place already, we're running for that. It's good for me to understand really what are
Mhm.
the different local people's challenges, and also the opportunities and the solutions. Maybe we think it's feasible, but it's actually not, right?
Right. And anthropologists actually talk about this all the time, right? That ideas come from the geography where the solution has to be applied. And you can't, like other people say, oh, you can't helicopter in a solution. And that's not true necessarily either, because as you pointed out, Maine can benefit from some of the same things that Calgary benefits from. So you just, I guess, have to bring your engineering skills with you and all those interdisciplinary skills and make sure that your students benefit from that wisdom and that they're able to adapt when they need to, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed,
Please
I
do.
noticed that that you emphasized a lot of opportunities with the YP.
Mm,
Yeah, have you had good feedback from the YP on these particular projects? What do they say? How do they respond to the activities that you've engaged in?
So well, for different talks, I may give different topics. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So for some talks, I gave the like social media issue, like the misinformation, disinformation issue. I do have some feedback, like students then realize, oh wow, actually, the social media actually collects so much data about ourselves. And you know, like we think, and sometimes they think it's like privacy, for example, is only their own issue. As long as they take care of their own, you know, profile, it's good. But like one of our research or the project, I talked to them, so it's like about friendship relation privacy. So that privacy is not really only controlled by yourself. It also relies on who you connect with, right? So
Right. And if
yes,
you're talking about like the smart grid, for example, right? So if you're talking about your power and energy thing, then people are concerned that maybe there'll be some additional information that will be seen or known or understood just by having access to how much energy you're using and what time of the day you're using it and so forth. And are people able to deal with, are they able to turn over that information to the power grid, right? Now they're being expected to, correct?
yeah. So we we found that particularly challenging. So like a human factor or humans' knowledge and understanding about the technology actually highly influencing like the adoption of the technology. Although
Mhm.
we consider, for example, through some scientific study or some experiment validated some certain technology would make sense, but to human users or customers eventually who need to adopt the technology, it may not be how to say cleared for them, right? What are the benefits? And is that easier to use or not? And can they actually link the certain, well, they may have some bad, wrong impression from the past or from, you know, some chaos in the online information. And can they really figure out the correct or the accurate information? That also is one challenge. For example, I talked to one colleagues working in PG&E. They actually struggled a lot trying to help the customers or the individual users to understand exactly how their energy bills were constructed. How much percent is going from coming from where? How much percent coming? So even for people to understand that, it's quite challenging.
Yeah, and then I think a lot of people don't realize that you can only save so much on your own personal bill before everything gets evened out again, because it's a giant network that has to be paid for. And eventually the cost of the grid is going to be reflected in your bill, right? And so it's the lifestyle thing, and it's, how much is what's the cost of living and what's the cost of using that particular type of energy, as you said, in the place where you're living, and whether you have access to anything that's a flexible expense. Most of these situations, it isn't flexible. It's just, what happens to be available in that particular place.
Yes, yes. And also I think on the other hand, that means we have a lot more to do with the technology. How can that, facilitate better adoption, help people really understand what's benefit for them. And yeah, so there's a lot to do.
Okay, I'll let you go back to your
Yeah,
yeah
sure.
slide.
So yeah, so anyway, I think there are a few more slides, but we probably don't have time to finish all. But I will just stop wherever, you know, when our time is up. But I will just continue with what I have.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So oh, by the way, thanks a lot for those questions. I think that actually is more interesting than just you know, present my slides.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, keep going, he says. Sure. Dr. Sharon says, keep going. I'm glad. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so well, the first one I said, like, talk to the senior faculty or colleagues or working in your institution so you can get the advice. On the other hand, I think it's not only about the major, you know, units that you work on. For example, in university setting, you may work in a department or the school. But actually, other than that, we have a broader like supporting systems. For example, the university IT. As a
Mhm.
security person, we want to, you know, whenever we try to do something, we have to make sure the IT can support that so they don't blame us. You know,
But
yes,
good
doing very
point.
nice.
Good point. Yes.
Yeah. So and also like facilities, for example, they will manage the space, the classrooms, right? So the meeting rooms, if we want to schedule certain events, organizing things for students or for external meetings, we have to make sure that we know who to reach out to, right? What exactly responsibilities they have, what services they can provide. And on the other hand, we organize many events on campus. For example, some of the IEEE conferences. Then we need to have external guests. We need to know, for example, how can we get parking? Those very down to earth questions. Can we get parking for them? You know, how to get that? What's the, you know, way to do it? And food and beverage services. There are some regulations on campus say you cannot, you know, order certain food, like exceeding certain amount of money from external. You have to work with a university catering, etc., etc. So you have to, you know, understand how things work from those supporting units. Then when you need to work on something, you need to, you know, who to contact. And if you build up like a good relationship with those people, they will be very helpful and supportive. That can make your things happening more efficiently. So that's a lesson I learned. And
So Daryl has a question here
sure.
for conferences. What about contracts between the university and IEEE and whom assumes liability? Do you know the answer to that question? Because I've run
Yeah.
into this. Yeah, okay.
Yes, to a certain extent, I mean, not like, okay, so I can roughly explain that. So for the conferences that we hosted at our university, we need to, I think the university needs to have a MOU signed with IEEE regarding the liability issue, etc., etc. But that wouldn't be too difficult. It's like there's a template, typical template that you can use. Then for, let me see.
If you sign a contract with a caterer or another company, then IEEE has to become involved. They have some insurance group that gets involved. Yeah.
Yes, right. And also, especially if like the financial sponsorship, if you get you know financial sponsorship from your
Outside.
institution, yeah, university as well, that may
Yeah.
make things a little more complex. And
Right. You have to announce it more than 4 weeks in advance online. You have to contact the people in Chicago who do the legal documents and then get the insurance certificate and a number of other steps, right? Is there a form that we can share with our colleagues so that they know? I don't remember the name of the person in Chicago. I'm sure it's easy to find.
yeah, I can dig into my email and
Okay, good. Yes,
I
it's
don't have that.
Karen someone or other. Karen someone or other. I can't remember her last name. Yeah, that's a very good question, Daryl. If you're having an event coming up, please send us an email and we'll make sure that we get that information to you. Because that's important. You don't want to be running ahead of, making an event somewhere at some kind of a banquet hall or whatever and then not have insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, That's very important. Yeah. So okay. So maybe I can finish this and then we can let me see. Oh, this is the next one, so we can stop. So for planning, I think that's very important because again, we have so many job responsibilities. So if we don't have a plan, we can easily overwhelm ourselves. And also we can get lost about, doing, getting so busy with all those daily activities. And after a year, look back, oh, we didn't actually moving towards the direction we want to move. So yeah, I also learned this from one of the workshops I learned, I joined as a faculty, a junior faculty. So a making plan is very important. For example, we can start from something top level, like 5 years from now. What do you envision yourself to be? Like from, it can be from all different aspects from your career, from like research, from teaching, or from your family, right? Do you have any significant plans for certain things? So that once you lay out those goals, long-term goals, then next step is you can break down it into some smaller ones, for example, some midterm goals, like a year or so that you can know, okay, year 1, 2, maybe I can achieve to this milestone, then year 3 and 4, I can, move forward. But only having those high level goals may not, well, it's helpful so that you know the direction, but we need to also make it smaller and smaller to do something like executable. Yeah, otherwise we may be anxious. Like after a year, we look back, oh, we know our goal, but we didn't really have a good plan about specific activities to do. So then we didn't.
And what's nice about having that is that then you can look back in your notebook or wherever you keep it, your calendar, and you can you can see where you ticked it off. And that gives a great deal of satisfaction. If you
Yes.
didn't write it down, you didn't actually do it because it's not credible, right? So,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So that's another suggestion I would say. Keep track. And at the beginning, when I just first learned this, I made a quite big plan, making, broken it down to smaller pieces. And I did spend a lot of time on that. But then I forgot or I didn't actually pay attention to look back. Then yeah, I learned the lesson actually. If you don't review, you don't know which part you can improve, which part you didn't do well, So yeah, that's a good lesson I also learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, then also I think keep track of your activities in a timely manner is kind of helpful. Just like a few years ago, I was really into those YouTube videos about decluttering stuff.
Yes. Does it give me joy? Right? Hold the thing. Does it give you joy? Right? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Yes. It was good.
Yeah, but one of the lessons I learned is like whenever you put things into categories, right? You try to whenever later on you get stuff out and trying to use it, later on you have to put them back to the place, right? So do a
Yes.
follow up. That's very important. Yeah, if you don't do that after a short time, you will get messy again. So that's some lessons I learned for my, work as well. For example, I do have a lot of trips, and I was so excited to, start a trip. So I booked a flight, hotel, and even sometimes rental car, etc. But when I come back from a trip, I may, get exhausted. I don't want to touch anything about it, So I, take a break after a few weeks. And I always think, oh, I still need to do the reimbursement thing. I have to submit all the receipt and, organize everything. When I think about it, it's a lot of things to do. I imagine it's a lot. So I never started doing that. So I always have a delay kind of a few months later. And recently I try to improve that. Then I see whenever now with the cell phone, I actually try to keep track of the paper receipt. But after a while, you may say, oh, it's a lot. And you don't know, like, yeah, dig into it seems to take a lot of time. So I don't have the motivation to work on that. But nowadays, I figure out, okay, if you just whenever you have a receipt, take a photo of it. And even, install the app on your phone so that like Concur, for example, then you can just directly upload that image to the, generated report before you go to the trip. Then every time you just, add one single item to it, little by little, that helps a lot.
That's a very good suggestion. Thank you.
But yeah, I'm not really on top of that yet. I'm still working on that.
And we aspire to perfection, right?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, yeah, this will be the last piece, I think. When we have too many things, I think we try to do everything to, the perfect status, but there's always things we can continue improving. So I would say give us like a deadline-driven approach. We set a deadline. So till then, we have to move on so that we can have, for example, one thing is we can know that we only have limited time for certain tasks. So we have to prioritize things because we know there's no enough time for everything. So we have to choose the high priority stuff to start first. And also, it will help us, if we really want to do a lot, then we have to carefully plan the time we have for each single thing so that we don't overwhelm ourselves and also reserve some time for your family and yourself. Yeah, then if we have to, for example, finish certain thing within a certain time window, then we have to focus on the efficiency. Then make a good plan seems to be a way to improve the efficiency. If we don't have a plan, we always start arbitrarily. For example, every morning, if I start without any to-do list, just start opening my email, I will dive into the email and spend the whole morning or even the whole day sometimes just handling those emails. So yeah, I would suggest prioritize your to-do list, something you have to finish within today, for example. Then work on those things first and focus on
So
that.
do you think there's ever going to be a time when our AI agent will help us figure out ahead of time which emails we should look at? Because, I mean, like, wouldn't it be nice to have a little assistant that tells us, oh my goodness, this thing really is on top of your to-do list. Maybe here's an email about, you know what I mean? Like, do you think it'll be possible?
Yeah, it will be better and better, I would say. I already see it's improving. For example, I just use Google Gmail. Like nowadays they already can help you. For example, this email is already like 5 days ago. Like you want to follow up or something. It already started doing something like that. I would see it will be more and more helpful in terms of reminding you, okay, these things you may want to follow up. But again, eventually it's you who need to do the work, right? Follow
You
up.
have to do it. Yes, yes, yes.
So if you overwhelm yourself or, handling too many things at the same time, you still will, be exhausted. So yeah, I would suggest that we eventually need to the tools we can utilize that can help us more and more, but eventually we have to make the decision to, prioritize stuff and drop certain unimportant things or less important things and leave it for later. So we have to make those decisions eventually. Yeah. Well, then I also try to squeeze things into some small, time slots, like 15 minutes. I did participate in our university, and also for some of the workshops I participate, they actually have this so-called 15 minutes writing campaign. Allocate just 15 minutes. You may work with your peers. There's a community, and people all sit down quietly and just working on that. You don't have to physically sit down together. It can be online as well. But those 15 minutes, you just work on your writing only without.
I love this. This is a great idea. I think you can get standards done that way. I think you can get proposals done that way. You can, write a paper for a conference that way.
Yes, exactly. I find that very helpful. And sometimes you may say, because if you work on your own, you may say, oh, there's only 15 minutes, right? And you can easily distracted by email, by this and by that. But yeah, if there's a peer, who urge you, say, now it's a time you have to commit to this writing, you will
That's a
figure out.
winner. This idea is a winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should write a paper about it and do a podcast about it. It's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the final thing is to, learn how to say no. I'm still working on that. I'm not but anyway, yeah, I think I can stop here.
Sure. Can we open up to the floor? I'd love it if maybe we can ask people to say something. Turn on your microphone, maybe your camera if you're not shy. Maybe we can turn off your slide now. What do you think?
Yeah.
Can we? Yeah. Anybody? Somebody? Anybody? No? Tom, there you are. Hi, Tom.
Good evening, Kit.
How are you? Did you hear this wonderful talk? What did you think about that 15-minute writing together idea? Isn't that a great idea?
Well, I think it's probably a good idea for an outline or something like to get you going. Um, but obviously, at some point you're going to have to come back to it and probably spend some more time on it.
Right, exactly. But at least you're getting moving, right?
Right,
It's a
right.
good, I like that very much. Al, do you have any comments, any suggestions, did you get any insights or, I actually want to say I admire you, Dr. Liu. I think everything you shared today with us, we don't always get a chance to get to know people we haven't met in real life before as well. And this is a great opportunity to get to know you very well, this conversation.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. This is also my first time to talk about something in general about career.
As opposed to something that has a test at the end of it. It must be very relieving not to have to make a test at the end of this. This is good. Al, do you have any questions? Or Dr. Sharam, what do you think?
I'm
Al.
just trying to express my envy for somebody who gets to have one career and stick to it the way that she has and not reinvent herself every 5 years. So technology often does force you to be much more flexible and go in different directions, as I described in my visit with you.
Mhm.
I'm expressing my envy that she's able to concentrate in one area and dedicate herself to an institution the way she has.
I'm lucky.
It's nice. We're happy for you. We really are, it's a
Thank
good
you.
thing. Daryl, do you have any comments or questions or anything?
Yeah, mine's is more of a time boxing. How do you make sure you don't always respond to emails or correspondence from students? Do you set certain hours to respond to students or work email, or how does that work for you?
Yeah. So that's exactly the challenges I'm facing. I have so many emails nowadays. So I originally, like 2 years ago, I think I was still handling that in a kind of ad hoc way, like flexible way. I would try to, every day open up my email, try to address those things. But recently, I feel more and more challenging because there are so many emails, so I have to dedicate certain time during a certain time, like a 1 hour, 2 hours maybe each day. And I now try to arrange that either at the end of the day or in the middle of the day, sometimes like dedicated time for email handling. Otherwise, I won't be able to handle it.
Do the students let you know how often they want to hear from you? Do you get the feedback or the anxiety from the students so that you have to move at a certain pace?
The thing is, our students, they don't, how to say this, typically they don't bother to send you an email. But when they have something, they will send you an email last minute. So for example, I observe certain patterns. Okay. So for our like a class, right? For students from my class, whenever I will about to have a exam, like the 48 hours before that, maybe sometimes just 24 hours before that, that's a time I will receive a lot of emails, more than often. And then another, so maybe, so nowadays I try to avoid having the deadline or exam on Monday. So I don't overwhelm myself over the weekend. But I also we provide advising services like for students who are not engaging in our class, but they are like general advisees. So for those students, sometimes they, for example, international students, I'm advising grad students. So for international students, they have the issue about their visa status, enroll in classes. Otherwise, if they don't have certain number of units for each quarter, they may not be qualified for their F1 visa, and etc. So that may be a more, anxious thing for us because we have to reply in a timely manner. So I think another thing is maybe is to have more supports from the department. For example, from other, like we have the peer advisor now in place. So, rather than the only faculty who serve as your advisor, at least the student side, they can reach out to the peer advisors. So that may, help expedite the process a little bit sometimes. So yeah, so from my side, I can only dedicate, for example, each day certain time for the email processing. And yeah, I don't know if they can. For now, I still spend the first 5 or 10 minutes just going through the emails. That is not not requesting my attention. Just click open, read. Then I can focus more on the stuff that I need to pay attention to. But I don't know. Hopefully, the AI tools can be more helpful later on, so they can help us prioritize stuff.
Yeah, and like plan your tests on the right day so they don't conflict with some holiday or family thing or whatever the things are, right? So, I mean, many of these items you mentioned can probably go into some kind of a scheduling tool that helps to make sure you can predict when the students are going to get all anxious or when the F1 visas are due or this kind of thing, like how many students you have that fall in that category. All that stuff could be easily kind of managed if you had a proper tool to do that. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah. Sharon, do you have any questions or comments? What do you think?
No, there's very good points all the way through. Just a word about students, because I also deal with a ton of them. My experience has been is when they send you email, they expect a response very, very quickly, because in their vision or their universe, it's only just you and there's nobody else. So they wonder why it's taking so long. And of course, yes, they do everything last minute, but that's human nature, you know. So I also practice a lot of what you spoke about. Scan through the emails and then just focus the ones that you can answer right then and there, and then stack the next one, revisit, iterate later in the afternoon, next day. So a very similar practice. But the students, yeah, they are, and the larger the number of students, I've had once a class of like, I think 95 students. So imagine the emails I got here.
That must be a
And
lot.
it was a necessary class for them to graduate.
Ah,
They had to take it. And then, of course, all sorts of issues come up. You can imagine, and it's not a linear, it's exponential. Twice the number of students, 4 times the number of emails.
yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Dr. Liu, for sharing this evening with us and helping us to get to know you. And I think you've gotten to know some of us a little bit too, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Very nice talking to everyone. Yeah. It's a
And,
great opportunity. So yeah, I think this career in technology event is really very helpful. And we plan to hopefully promote that more so that we can have higher engagement.
That's great. Dr. Al Spuntoff has given a talk already, and we're queuing up Dr. Sharon Kelwani, because he's going to sign up for a day, right? And he's going to decide what he's going to speak about.
Yes, both are on the cards, and I'll wait until all the emails about that topic start piling up, and then I'll take action.
Yes,
That's
pick
just a
something.
joke. Yeah.
Yeah, just pick something, and then we'll
Yeah.
look
And
forward to
well,
having Dr. Liu help us
yeah.
share this, promote it.
Yeah.
She's in charge of the globe. She's in charge of the globe.
Mhm.
Can you remind us what the responsibilities of your global, your GAC position is?
Yeah, so there are 10 regions global wide, and we have each region, or sometimes like two regions with one like regional coordinators. And really, the goal is to have all the chapters globally to generate more or provide more values for our members. So one of the things is the talks, the activities in person maybe as well or online to engage members. Another goal is to increase the number of members. And right now we also I think the previous GAG chair, David, has done a fantastic job. We Before his position, I think we were even not able to find all the regional coordinators. But now we have the regional coordinators and also area coordinators who can help, split the number of chapters. So each one can be in charge of a smaller number of chapters. So it's easier. But sometimes we have the challenges like whether we can get the chapter chairs respond or actually willing to talk to us. That's another issue. But we also want to engage more student activities. So we are figuring out what are the challenges and how can we tackle those challenges as well. Yeah.
It would be nice to have a dashboard of some kind with the chapters, especially what schools are potential chapters for student chapters and whether or not, because those chapters come and go, they come and disappear, and the members of those chapters move on. And one of the biggest issues is to retain the students into their YP years because they geographically can relocate. And it's expensive. It's a big change in the cost of being a member from being a student member to being a regular member, a professional member. And so all of that stuff kind of conspires against us when we have a thriving student population and then people disappear for some number of years and you want to know where they went and how can we hang on to these people, or how can we at least keep them in our on our sites, in our community in some way, even if they're affiliates or some other type of member.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can engage them more and also engage more industry professionals. So yeah, as we mentioned before the talk, if we can connect those two parties.
Yeah, we're very lucky here. We have Tom is on the line here. He's from AT&T Labs here in Middletown. And we also have Nokia, and now we're developing IBM. And so there's some industry people who are kind of like really anchors around here that it would be nice to then move around the whole region or both region, region 1 and region 2, and find similar anchors where they know that they can subscribe to meetings on a regular basis, share those meeting notes with their employees, right? Dr. Sharon has a series on, Dr. Sharon, you want to mention the series that you have in case, I think everyone on the call has been to one of your meetings, but it would be nice.
I hope so. If not, I regularly, since the start of the pandemic, the first month we were all confused what to do online. And I hit upon the idea of historical documentaries on different aspects of technology and on people themselves. And I've built this up over the years. Now I have a rich collection of about 40 documentaries. People like Heidi Lamar or Charles, Steinmetz or Claude Shannon. And I've developed some more. And those have been very well received. And there are many on milestones like the invention of the transistor or similar topics. And they've proven very popular. Over the years, I've repeated them and grown them from a small handful to about 40.
And people like to watch together. It's like a watch party.
Yes, and right after the screening of the documentary, I usually have a let's discuss what did you find interesting, and very interesting anecdotes get shared. Stuff that you would never have known or discovered if you didn't meet those people online and had that shared experience.
Exactly.
I would be interested in knowing more about the transistor. Actually, on March 5th, here in Central Illinois, we have an event at a middle school. So we're going to go and have 96th graders. We have the chair of solid state here and some volunteers to teach them transistors. And we're going to do a lot of breadboarding activities with 555 timers also. So if you have any information on transistors or anything, I'd be, quite happy to hear that.
Yeah, my best information is the history of the transistor. That itself is fascinating. Drop me an email, but I will say many of my events are publicized through many regions. And if you're in Central Illinois, Bob Burke sends out weekly emails, and my events are all included there.
Okay, cool.
So Daryl, on the Try Engineering website, they have excellent curriculum guides they're free. You can download them, and they are a range of lessons involving the transistor. That's one of the, as you know, that's a Bell Labs invention, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the sort of where the building where I worked, and Tom also at a previous version of his job desk location, we have a water tower out front that's built looking like a transistor. Yeah. So it's a big thing around here. So you've chosen well. And have you used the Try Engineering materials from IEEE? Do you know about them?
I was looking at some of the information there and seeing how much we can use. I don't know what the chair of the solid state here is going to use. I know solid state has some, I think it's Inspire program they have now for workforce development for chips and stuff like that. I don't know if he was planning on doing anything from solid state or what. We'll have to discuss more. But
so let me take your email address and I'll send you the link. If you can, have patience with me.
I'll type it in here in the chat.
All right, just in case, because I know, like, when I first saw the website, the Try Engineering website, I became confused. There was so much stuff, and then each thing is like you have to click on it and read through a lot of stuff, and it was confusing. But I have to tell you now, I'm sold. It's fantastic. IEEE has an incredible set of products there that are free, and they're wonderful. So I think you'll find them to be great. Okay, Daryl.Palmer. Okay, great. Okay. And Sharon, is that your
that's a talk I'm giving this Friday. It's the 5th year I'm doing that. It's my memorial lecture on, one of India's greatest scientists. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Excellent. Excellent. Friday, right? This is Friday?
Yes, this Friday. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for reminding us. Do you have a slide that you can share with us right now? Do you have a
I
slide?
put a flyer out there.
Okay, great. Perfect. Everybody remember that, put it on your calendar. And I'll turn off the recording now. Good night, everyone.